familiar. So if you don't know by now, then you should probably get familiar.
Hi everyone, welcome to the Jinzo&Tonic channel. I'm Manic L0rd, and here's my deck profile that I used at the very first Obelisk Blue tournament. So, a little bit of history behind this, thinking behind this list. I'd been involved in the first yellow bracket using a goal control deck with Solemns, but I didn't do well in that. So I decided I wanted to get back on quite quickly and joined another Slifer bracket. And around this time, everyone was all about Thunder Dragon Chaos Control, so I decided I'd want to give it a spin. And it turned out quite well for my Slifer bracket. I almost did a clean sweep for it, and it would have happened if it weren't for a top deck Chaos Sorcerer being the very last card. So when I won the Slifer bracket, I decided that I wanted to run a deck that I felt gave me the most options. I was pretty comfortable using the other two Chaos decks, so namely Warriors, Flip Turbo, but I felt that the Thunder Dragon Chaos / Go Control deck gave me a lot more options, and it worked out pretty well because I managed to clean sweep my Ral bracket, apart from one game that I lost, which was against Weird Champ. Obelisk didn't go as well. I did have to face two of the world's participants, and I made quite a few misplays, but I think that's not really a fault of the bracket, and congrats to La Bounty who won this particular Obelisk bracket. So without any more delay, I'll get on to covering my deck list, which appears on the screen. I don't think there's too much special about the deck list, but there's a few choices that I wanted to point out. So first one is that I'm not running any sort of Dark Mimics, which is a bit unusual, I think, because initially I was using them, and obviously level 1 is quite relevant for being a meta target, and I was playing around with 2 copies of level 1, and I did test out the single copy of level 3. Because of one of my side deck choices, I decided to run 2 copies of Dekoichi, 1400, and does the same thing as Mimic level 1, so yeah. Next card I wanted to talk about is Morphing Jar. So initially this was the slot where I used Start Mimic level 3 when I was running level 1s, and I wanted a card that if I, for whatever reason, my hand size went very low or I had a bunch of dead cards in my hand, I could swap them out. And it actually happened quite a bit, where every time I did manage to resolve Morphing Jar, it won me that particular game. And it is a card that I do side out. Depends how I feel on what I feel might come up, but it came back to bite me when I was facing against Insidious in game 3. He hit me with Dua and Dust Shoot, so not really too much I could have done about that. Next choice I wanted to point out was double Kaiku in the main deck. So when I came across a lot of similar lists, I felt that they were a little bit passive. They didn't apply the pressure that I like to apply when I'm playing with a deck. So if you think about your standard monsters like Mystic Tomato, okay, it does apply some sort of pressure, but it's only 1400, and you've got if you play extra flip monsters, then you get hit by Nobleman Crossout. So Kaiku kind of like made up for all of these weaknesses per se by offering me 1800, which does come up against Warriors. Very worst case scenario, I crash with one of the other 1800s, but it has come up, and obviously both of the effects are really, really good now that everyone's starting to use Chaos decks. I decided to use only 2 meta, and I actually replaced a 3rd copy with Premature Burial. So the thinking behind double meta was that I felt that I didn't really have the right sort of targets that I could use with meta, and it came down to, I think the way I see it is that it's a bit like Emergency Teleport if you play through Teledad, where you can max out on the card and it obviously improves your plays, but you drop a copy to give you less dead draws in the long run. And Premature Burial, if I wasn't maining Kaiku, I probably wouldn't run main deck Premature Burial. But it's a card that has stolen a few games for me. The trap lineup is pretty straightforward, I think, as well. It's the same as what Del Belido used in his Worlds list. I like the one-off traps. They give me a huge variety, and I do think that one Regeki Break is probably the right number in this sort of build. My belief is that if I ran 2 copies, I wouldn't always have the right sort of discard fodder. I mean, I know I've got Thunder Dragons and I've got Sinister Serpent, but I will always draw into those cards. So having a card that's only really amazing when you have those cards is a bit iffy for me. Side deck, I think it could have done a little bit of work if I had anticipated the meta better, but I think it covers a wide range of matchups, and I would just want to cover the less, I guess what I believe are the less obvious choices. So I like the mini warrior package of Exile Force, 1 Mystic Swordsman, and Reinforcement of the Army. It gave me a wide range of options. It deals with set monsters quite well, I believe, and since I'm mainly playing Premature Burial, I can revive them, so it's not always. It's not terrible to have that mini package. Single Neck and Mannequin comes up against is not the best card if you're facing against someone that knows how to play Empty Jar, but it has come up and I managed to win the game because my opponent got scared of it after seeing it revealed from a Cyberjar in my VAR bracket. Curse Seal is more of an alt-win card, anti-alt-win card as well, if you think about it, and also covers Reason Gate. So Reason Gate, Empty Jar, Library, FTK, you name them. If you're really desperate, you could also side in and get Goat Control, but it doesn't really come up. Lightning Vortex, Mass Board Wipe. Trap Dust Shoot is actually sided and not mained. I think that Trap Dust Shoot is not fantastic. It's only really, really good when you're going first, and you probably want to side it in mostly against Chaos Flip Turbo and other combo decks. Messenger of Peace was another card that I decided to side deck. I didn't believe that I had the right sort of support for Scapegoat and Creature Swap or Enemy Controller, so I guess this was the next best thing, and it covers aggro matchups as well. I think that's it for me in terms of covering the whole deck profile. Mind Control. Actually, last card I want to talk about is Mind Control. 15th card comes up. Pretty solid card. I think looking back, if I wanted to make changes, I'd probably have a more narrow side deck which covers Chaos Flip Turbo, which covers the main 3 Chaos decks, because that's what we ended up seeing in the Obelisk bracket. So before I finish off, I want to give a huge thanks to Jinzo&Tonic for having me on his channel. He's been a great support. He's been very supportive towards me ever since I made contact with him. And big shout out to Roast for having the Academy League, and for getting me roped into our locals. Huge shout out to Academy team and to Moki Moki channel as well. Thanks everyone. Bye for now.
Thank you.